Right, so what we've got these Z35s, or if you're in America, Z35 Eco Gear shrimps. What I've done is I've taken the clip off them and I've just tied the loop straight to the lure. These work a lot better than when you fish them with the clip. And also, people, what we've got, the old faithful, we've got the old soft plastics. Now, I'll give you a little bit of a tip with soft plastics, right? Let me show you a trick with soft plastics that will help you immensely with your fishing and not cause you too much grief outside of your fishing, okay? So let's just put that there. I'll just swap them over in a minute. So with your soft plastics, one of the secret weapons of soft plastics is super glue, because one thing that a lot of people do is when they fish with the soft plastics, they find that the lures or the soft plastic tails and that come off. One little drop of super glue where the soft plastic touches the head. Okay, now I've rigged this differently to normal. I've rigged this from the top rather in the middle, but I'll show you how to do this on the next one, okay? So what we'll do for starters, we might catch a few blowfish today, which is unlike us. And when you fish them, what you've got to do, you've got to make sure that you always keep tension on your line. So just before it hits the water, I'm going to grab the spool. That's going to flick out the Kevlar threads that hold the hooks to the lure. Now there's ways you can retrieve them, okay? Now I don't know whether you can see that rod tip working, but it's all about rhythm. And what I'm doing is I'm just winding this in, okay? And as I wind this in, I'm just winding this fast enough so that I can feel a vibration through the line of the lure, okay? And all that's doing is it's just darting from side to side along the bottom, kicking up little tufts of sand. See the fish in front of us there? Okay, now I don't know whether that's from the lure or whatever. So we've had a couple of hits there. See the fish exploding behind the clump of grass that obscured it, right? So what we've got here now, okay, is see these little Kevlar threads and the little things here, that just looks like a little shrimp. So what'll happen is when you're pulling your line through the water, that goes like that and it just wiggles along the bottom much like that. Now with these, right, when I cast, just before I hit the water, I'll grab my spool, which will flick the hooks out. If you don't do that when it lands, they just spiral around the line, okay? Hey, I'm going to call him George. That's better. Right, excellent. We're halfway out in the river there. If you're ever fishing a windy day, switch to these Eco Gear bladed lures, because you can punch them into the wind quite easily and it'll at least give you a chance of catching a fish. When you're using suspending hard-bodied lures or your surface poppers, the slightest wind blowing at you will resist the lure as it's going through the air, and then that way what it will do, it will restrict your casting distance, okay? Well, I don't think we're going to catch anything. And with the way that I've taken the clip off the lure there, what's happening is as soon as I lift the rod tip, I can feel that vibrating, and what I'm doing is bump and then retrieving line on the way down, always maintaining tension. See how I'm not letting the line go slack? Because when you let it go slack, 9 times out of 10, that's when you'll catch a fish. But with these having smaller hooks, what you'll find is you do catch the odd blowfish as well. I'll bring this through here. There's some bait fish that have been herded into the shallows here, so I'm starting to think that we might actually have a few larger fish out there. And see how I grab that lure before it hits the water? That flicks the hooks out so it doesn't tangle. Now you've got to remember too, people, that rivers are the nurseries for our saltwater species, so a lot of the fish that you catch in the rivers are actually from the salt coming into spawn, and then they shoot out to the salt again. If you're going to catch a fish, what's the point of catching a fish just to feed a seagull or a pelican? You're better off putting it back in the water. It's just an absolute oxymoron. Couple of bumps there, people. Come on, bud. A bit of weed. All right, got to be careful where you say that phrase. And as you can see, with these bladed lures, now look at all these fish in front of us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a couple more casts and then I'm going to rip out the soft plastic. What we're going to do, we're going to do a lighter soft plastic with a bit of gold fleck through it, and that way what will happen is it'll be a little bit more reflective in the sunlight and hopefully will entice a strike out of the fish. Just see how we go. Come on, bud. Going to start using the soft plastic just as that sun hits the top of the tree line, and then the river's going to change. Totally going to change. All right, come on. When you're using bladed lures like this and also other lures that need to vibrate to work, what you want to make sure is you've got the correct terminal tackle for what you're using, because a lot of times when you cast out, because I've removed the clip from this, what I have is I have a direct join to the lure with this loop. Now let me just show you this, right? So a little bit of a tip with the loop, you don't want the loop to be bigger than the lure. So see how I've got the loop and it's not bigger than the lure, because what'll happen is if you make that too big, it'll start to tangle in around itself and it will really hinder your ability to hook fish. And let's face it, I don't need any extra help with that. And what will happen is there, when you've got direct contact with your bladed lure with the loop from the fluorocarbon, as soon as you lift your rod tip, the lure starts working. So like I said, the conditions aren't the best, but we're just getting in here, using different techniques and using different lures, and just, you know, improving our skill set, which is good. Now the other thing is too, people, on this channel we follow ethical fishing practices, so we don't chase sharks or anything like that. The only shark that we do keep every once in a while is a gummy shark, but they're not on the endangered list, and they're a school shark, so they actually have a minimum legal size and everything. Right, set the drag. I like fishing with soft plastics and lures, people, because it's far more challenging once I've got the fly gear sorted. I've been working on some fly fishing videos for YouTube. As you're well aware, I've been fly fishing for about 37 years now. Yeah, we'll be doing a lot more fly fishing on here too, people. Right, that's good. Okay, I finally got all the fly fishing tackle. We're going to start our fly tying videos, all sorts of stuff. Right, now when you're casting, never ever flick your bail arm over when your lure hits the water, because what will happen is it'll come down towards you rather than dropping vertically. Okay, and the good thing is we've got this wind at our back today. You know, this rod's a little bit stiffer than the other one, so I'm going to need to get used to this. Oh, that's all right. Oh, we're on. Fish on, people. That's not meant to be happening. Rightio, we got a fish on. First fish of the season. This is a real shock. Rightio, people, so first fish of the season, beautiful little mulloway. Hello, bud. So that was your auntie I hooked the other night. There we go. So they are here. No. All right, first fish of the season. So much for my theory. There you go, matey. So it was the gold fleck that made the difference, eh? So that's got to go back quickly. First mulloway of the season. There you go, bud. There you go. All right, good. So we got one. Now, I did see fish out there before getting smashed on the surface. I kept that fish out of the water for an absolute minimum amount of time then. I wet my hands. I've actually had this already wet a little bit beforehand. And then what we did, we put it straight back. I cushioned it, I put it down, and away we go, okay? So you must look after your fish, because if you don't, especially in Australia, you'll kill them. Right, now, let's see if Auntie Beryl's out there, bud. Made all the noise with the Eco Gear hard bodies. I sent out the bomber to stir them up. I reckon that would have been an easy 40, just a little 18-inch fish. Oh, that mulloway smell. Whoa, I want to wear it as aftershave. Love it. What? Rightio, back it goes. And the good thing about that is, when it goes back and shakes its head off and goes, he was an ugly bugger, it'll be a bit smarter the next time, you know? That one that we lost the other night, people, when I caught a glimpse of it in the light, still losing sleep over it, that was a monster. I just about had it around the corner. With mulloway, when you get a big one, they've always got one or two efforts left in them at either the boat or when they see the light, because as soon as they see light, they get scared and they shoot off again for obvious reasons. Oh, we just dropped a hit. There we go. Rightio, and again. Now you got to remember, this is a bit of cheating, because I've already been over this spot with the kayak. When you have a kayak, you can make a mental note of where all the depths are. This is actually not the best spot for the mulloway. The best spot is further upstream, but I can't get reception. Rightio, let's go again. We're not meant to be catching mulloway with this phase of the moon. I have no idea what's happening there, but anyway, what must have happened is it must have followed some yellowfin whiting in. With soft plastics, mate, the two mistakes people make are they fish too quick and too shallow, right? Slow. You need to slow it right down. I'll show you. Watch. So when you cast, now this rod's a little bit stiff for these soft plastics, but I'll get accustomed to it. Right, so out here, there we go, right, boom. Okay, see how I've left the bail arm open? That means where that soft plastics hit the water, it's going to drive straight down to the bottom with the tail spinning, and it's going to be vertical, and it's going to sit there with the tail spinning in the current, right? When we hooked that monster earlier in the week, it got it on the drop. Once it hits the bottom, what you'll see is you'll see a V in the line coming back towards you. That's your lure still going to the bottom and your braids dropping down through the water column. When the V stops, you know that your lure's on the bottom, then you turn your bail arm over. Don't use your handle to turn over your bail arm, use your hands. You'll save yourself a lot of grief one day when you've taken one reel fishing and your bail clip dies and you hook the fish of a lifetime. So, bump, right. What I'm doing here is you never leave slack line between you and the soft plastic. So the reason why I'm facing this way is because the wind's blowing this way and it's going to take the bow out of the line that way, okay? But that's where the spot is. So now, what I did, people, is we've had a lot of yellowfin whiting that have come into this waterway. See how this soft plastic has a little bit of gold speck through it? That's designed to mimic the yellowfin whiting that are in most waterways. The Swan River in Perth has absolutely monster yellowfin whiting, people, just monsters, right? But same old story. Got to know where to look, don't you? Rightio. See that? Right. So that's sinking. I'm still seeing the V. It's stopped. Right, I've got my drag set, rod tip down. Now, I have a straight line between myself and the soft plastic. Bump, bump, wind down, bump, bump, wind down. What people do is their biggest mistake is they'll go bump, bump, and then they drop their rod tip without winding. Don't do that. Bump, bump, and start winding immediately as you start dropping the rod tip, okay? Okay? And what's happening there is you have a continuous action on your soft plastics. Now, in the shallower water, which you need to figure out for yourself, what you do is you drop your rod tip because braid has no stretch. In the shallower water, if I start going vertical, it'll flip your soft plastic out, right? That was a good sized fish, actually. Might have been a bit over 40. And look, people, don't worry about personal bests. Don't worry about how many fish you've caught. Worry about putting it straight back in the water as quickly and as calmly as possible so the fish is for you there next time when you go to catch it. I can't, you know, bang on about ecology enough and, you know, being like good to your oh, hang on, people. We've just had a bit of, oh, you idiot. Oh, I saw the bow wave. Oh no. Boy, am I rusty. We had a bow wave behind the soft plastic because it just went into the shallow. Oh, there it is. It's back. All right, bit bigger. This one's a bit bigger. I told you, didn't I? Off it goes. You just do what you want to do, man. All right. Yep, see? I told you there was one in there. This is a bit bigger again, people. Right, so I saw the bow wave and then I stopped. This one's a bit bigger again. Come on, mate. Now, see how I stopped then? A lot of people would have retrieved. Right, all that does is puts the fish off. Come on, buddy, in you come, mate. I promise to let you go as quickly as I can. Here he is. Come on, mate, just come through that plane. Well done. All right. See how I've wet my hands and I've cushioned my fish again? And look at this, people. Same spot on the corner of the mouth. That's why we like soft plastics. That's about another 40. All right, back you go, straight away. Gently, gently. See you, bud. All right. Next time I catch that fish, it's going to be 2 centimetres bigger. You know what I mean? Now see what I said there about fishing slow. I saw the bow wave and I dropped the first hit. And then what I did is I just dropped the rod tip and I left it there. With your soft plastics in rivers, right, they'll sit vertically and they'll continually spin. So that came back and then it hit it again because I didn't move it. It looked like it had hit the fish and maimed it and went, oh, you ripper, I've got a meal here. So once again, thank you very, very much. I hope that this live stream finds each and every one of you and your families all happy and healthy, because that's the main thing at the end of the day. And look forward to seeing you again. We're going to give it a break over the next 3 or 4 days with the live streaming, with the fishing for the mulloway in the rivers, as on the peak of the full moon, usually it's not the best and the tides are a little bit all over the place. Okay, so once again, thank you very much. Have a lovely evening or a lovely night in your world, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Every day is a good day, mate, when you're breathing and you're alive.